FBI Special Agent Dante Cole had the jawline of a movie poster and the patience of a vending machine. He was allergic to small talk, suspicious of scones, and the kind of man who ironed T-shirts that insisted they didn't need it. He had one rule: in, out, case closed. Which is exactly why the Bureau volunteered him for the one case that would obliterate his rule and his dignity in a single laundry cycle. "Let me repeat this slowly," said his boss, Deputy Director Priya Rao, sliding a file across the briefing table. "The cyber crew we've been chasing, the ones who boosted 8 armored vans without touching the steering wheel, are hiding their command hub in the Crescent Gardens neighborhood. Our Undercover Inn is the community boarding house on Willow and 5th. Dante skimmed the file, eyes snaring on the photo paper clipped to the corner. A sunlit porch with hanging ferns and a shingled sign that read Magnolia House, Rooms, Meals and Manners. On the steps, a dozen neighbors laughed like they weren't paying rent. In the center, a silver-haired woman in a floral dress clasped a tray of cinnamon rolls like evidence. The caption: Miss Magnolia, real name, Evelyn Ruth Carter, retired housekeeper saint, currently on Caribbean cruise sponsored by grateful tenants. "And?" Dante asked. Priya folded her hands. "The residents, our suspects included, only open up to Miss Magnolia. She's away for 3 weeks. No problem, we wait." Priya didn't blink. "The ring's next move is in 10 days. They'll hit the city's payroll cloud. If they do, 500,000 workers won't get paid and our mayor will learn to cry on national television." Dante closed the file. "So who do we have that can pass as her niece? A new cook? A handyman?" Priya slid another manila envelope over, thicker, heavier, smirkier. "No, Dante. We need Miss Magnolia." He stared at her. She stared back with the calm of someone who embraced chaos for cardio. "You want me," he said, voice flat, "to impersonate a 70-something Southern matron who bakes and knows everyone's business." "Good thing you're a quick study," Priya said. "Wardrobe is downstairs. You've got a dialect coach, a pastry chef on call, and a retired pastor to teach you porch diplomacy. Your alias, Magnolia Rose Carter. Your mission: run the house, earn their trust, and find out which tenant is the mastermind they call the locksmith." Dante looked down at his notes and discovered his handwriting had upgraded itself to disbelief. "I don't do wigs. You do justice," Priya corrected. "And yes, you do wigs." 2 days later, Dante stood in the mirror of the Bureau's theatrical ops room and met a stranger who might scold hurricanes. The prosthetics team had conjured cheek softness, laugh lines, and a nose that suggested a family recipe for lemonade. A pearly wig framed his face like a cloud that charged rent. The dress, navy with white magnolias, was forgiving in cut and unforgiving in attitude. Low heels weighted like small, judgmental mountains. He turned and the hoop of his slip turned with him like a carousel tired of being patient. In his earbud, the dialect coach, Tani, purred, "Lean into the vowels, sugar. We're going for rocking chair at sunset, not fried chicken mascot." Dante, "No, Miss Magnolia," cleared his throat and practiced. "Mornin', loves. Feed off my coffee table unless you are the coffee table." Tani cackled. "She's alive." He memorized the backstory. Magnolia, widow, took over the house after her sister's stroke, raised half the block, knit the other half together, still formidable with a rolling pin. He learned how to tie an apron without looking like a hostage. He learned the power of a hush. And at 6:04 a.m. on a Monday bright with rumors, a Bureau sedan deposited an old lady who was also a weapon at the curb of Magnolia House. The porch creaked approval. The screen door sighed. The foyer smelled like lemon oil and good news. Dante planted his cane, pure prop, pure attitude, and called, "Breakfast in 15, my darlings. If I don't see hands washed, I will invent consequences." Doors opened. A parade shuffled in. He clocked them all. Ivy and Dickie Morales, paramedic and mechanic, newly married, perpetually paint spattered. Ivy's smile could fix most days. Professor Jun Park, retired mathematician, crossword assassin, scolded numbers into obeying. Little Ty, age 8, an orphan of the neighborhood with a heartbreak you only noticed when the laughter stopped, placed here unofficially by a dozen aunties who considered themselves the government. Tasha Green, night shift security guard, eyes like sirens and shoulders like "don't test me." Miles, Milo, Harrigan, youth pastor, DJ, suspiciously perfect teeth. Naomi Blake, single mother of a baby with cheeks like existing was a hobby. Naomi worked 2 jobs and wore hope like a hair tie, useful, stretched. Rex Dalton, software contractor whose backpack never left his shoulder, smiled with only half his face. They slowed, then brightened, at the sight of Miss Magnolia. Apparently, a good matriarch softens gravity. "Miss Magnolia," Ivy beamed. "You're back a week early." Dante pitched his voice to Cinnamon. "The cruise ship ran out of real butter, Ivy. I won't live like that." He herded them to the long table, ladled scrambled eggs, served biscuits, poured coffee like gossip. Naomi looked like sleep had filed a complaint. He slid her the biggest biscuit and a wink. Little Ty, face serious, presented a crayon drawing labeled "Welcome Home Ms. Magnolya" with a picture of a dragon hugging a house. "My goodness," Dante said, and meant it. The drawing warmed something under the prosthetics. He tasted the room as surely as he tasted the gravy. Chatter, clatter, secrets warming on back burners. He didn't know who the locksmith was yet, but he knew where they lived now. In this mix of kindness, laundry, and rent envelopes, in the beat of this house. He also knew he was in trouble. Because somewhere between, "more jam," and "don't you roll your eyes, I invented that move," he felt something he didn't trust. Attachment. Attachment gets you killed. It also helps you bake. After breakfast, Naomi lingered, bouncing baby jewels on her hip. "Miss Magnolia," she said, "are you doing bingo night again?" Mama used to win canned peaches and a whole summer of bragging. He smiled without thinking. "If there's breath in my body and butter in my fridge, baby." "Bless," Naomi sighed. Dante noted. She laughed like a bell that forgave. Also noted. Rex Dalton lingered too, peering over at Naomi with the blank face of a man trying not to look interested while looking. Dante filed it in the cabinet labeled "possible motive, possible distraction." He toured the house, cane ticking like a metronome for decency. He found 2 hidden cameras in the hallway smoke detectors, his, secure. He found a 3rd under the stair, not his. He found a new router with a MAC address that didn't match the ISP install manifest. He found a tiny sticker under the banister shaped like a key. He smiled into his teacup. "Found you," he whispered. A knock. Dante opened the door to find Officer Tilda Voss, uniform, dimples, reputation for collecting both strays and felons. "Miss Magnolia," she said. "You look rested." Translation. "You look a trifle indifferent, but I won't be rude to community royalty." "Officer, sweetheart, I was born rested," Dante cooed. "You here to eat or to ask questions?" "This neighborhood's got a rash of porch pirates and a fresh scam texting seniors," Voss said. Plus an anonymous tip: there's a tech lab somewhere on the block. You see anything, you call me. Always do. And officer? Dante lowered his voice. If you see my rolling pin in the wild, please return it. I have promised to bake and I refuse to be a liar. She laughed. Understood. When she left, Dante moved to the basement, where Magnolia House kept its complex emotions. Trunks of prom dresses, 3 slow cookers, a broken treadmill holding holiday decor, and a vintage washer that sounded like a doo-wop group working through a breakup. He swept a wall shelf with his hand and found a seam, false panel. Behind it, a neat stack of black devices with cat-like blinking lights and cables coiled tenderly like snakes after lunch. A portable server farm, unmarked. New. Hello, Locksmith, he murmured. And good morning, pressure. From above, a shriek, followed by peals of laughter. Somebody had discovered Dante's surprise in the living room. A whiteboard titled "This Week's House Rules." Item 1. Pick up your socks or I'll knit them into a sweater you don't deserve. Item 2. If you are rude to Naomi, you will scrub baseboards till you apologize to them. Item 3. Bingo night returns Thursday. Winner picks dessert. Beneath that, a sticky note in block capitals. We love you, Ms. M. Hard drawn by Ty, badly but with conviction. Dante put a hand to his wig like it might tell his heart to behave. Then he took photos, encrypted a message to Priya, and climbed the stairs to run a house like a honey badger runs an apiary, fearless, sweet-toothed, and prepared to swat anything that stung. Operation Magnolia had begun. By day 3, Miss Magnolia was a phenomenon. Strangers dropped by with casseroles and secrets. 2 separate men proposed to her on the sidewalk. Little Ty carried her cane like a scepter. Dante had learned to walk in low heels without looking like a folding chair learning ballet. He also learned the house ran on rituals, and rituals are where both love and crime like to hide. He mapped the rhythms. 6 a.m. the kettles sang. Ivy left for the ambulance depot. Jun Park attacked the crossword with the focus of a general. Noon brought the UPS driver who pretended to fear Magnolia's porch cat while slipping her neighborhood intel. 3 p.m. Naomi returned from shift 1, kissed Jules, tied on an apron, and did shift 2 at the community kitchen. Smile resolute, feet tired. Midnight Tasha trudged in, security uniform creasing at grief. She checked the doors, then the people, then the world. He mapped the tech, too. New Wi-Fi pings at odd hours. A burst of traffic each night from 1 to 3 a.m. Routed through layers of anonymity so thick you could serve ice cream on them. A private mesh network ping-ponging from the attic to a shed to 2 lampposts like fireflies with MBS. Whoever the locksmith was, they were local and cocky. Bingo night packed the parlor. Dante wore a floral apron as bulletproof as a vest and handed out cards with the zeal of an evangelist. The prize table groaned. A homemade quilt, a pressure cooker, a golden spatula spray painted by Ty with so much enthusiasm the air still smelled like ambition. House rule, Dante announced. If you shout, bingo, falsely, you apologize in cookies or cash. Preferably both. Rex Dalton took a chair near the back with a line of sight to exits. He laughed when others did. Smiled when looked at. Looked away when Naomi bent to settle Jules in a bassinet. Milo the DJ, pastor ran the playlist and accidentally cued a love ballad whenever Naomi entered a room. Tasha sat head on a swivel near the doorway. Jun Park, pen poised like a knitting needle, muttered the numbers before Dante called them. Dante noted. Jun could be the locksmith, brilliant, bored, insomniac. Tasha, with security access, could be an accomplice. Milo, with that perfectly folded smile, could be a front. Rex, backpack, always, could be an operator. Naomi? No. He refused to cast her. Then scolded himself. Refusing is how you miss truths. Between rounds, Dante slipped to the kitchen, fitted his listening gadget to the basement air vent, and caught a whisper. Soft tappings. Minimal fans. The server farm waking up. He texted Priya. Basement busy. Pull traffic at 0130. She replied, on it. Also, you're trending. Someone filmed your bingo rules. Internet calls you, Chaos Nana. Congratulations? He swore in a whisper. Chaos Nana would ruin him. Also, it made him snort. Back in the parlor, someone shouted, bingo. Before a single row could exist. The culprit. Little Ty, eyes huge, grin wider. The room laughed. Dante put a hand to his hip like he was about to write the boy's autobiography. Ty, sweetie, that is not how numbers work. Practice bingo. Ty protested. So I get good. Dante knelt, lowering his voice for just the boy. I love the hustle. But we play fair in this house. Try again. He gently removed the sticker Ty had hidden beneath his card. A little cheater, future senator. Ty scowled theatrically, then sighed. Okay, Ms. M. Naomi, watching, softened. You're good with him. Dante's disguise threatened to melt from the heat behind his ribs. Everyone deserves rules, he said. And second chances. I mean about both. Halfway through round 3, Dante's left heel betrayed him. 1 minute he was queen, the next he was timber. He flailed at air, reached for the table, and grabbed Naomi's forearm. Solid. Warm. Sure. She caught him, laughed, and the room roared as if they'd rehearsed. You all right? She asked, amusement playing in the corners of her mouth. Never better, Dante said. Man voice? Tani sang in his ear. He coughed. Just remembering I'm not a ballerina. She studied him, something like curiosity shining. You're different, she murmured. Since your cruise. More sharp. She smiled. I like it. He examined the ceiling fan as if it held policy. Vacation renews my contract with chaos. She laughed again. He filed it in the evidence cabinet labeled reasons to finish the case and leave before you do something stupid. At 12:57 a.m., he woke to the faint purr from below. He donned a robe, slippers, and the ancient authority of midnight. Down the back stairs, silent thanks to years of practice, and into the basement, where his vent mic confirmed, traffic. The servers chattered in machine minimalism. He traced the power cable to a new outlet wired suspiciously clean. He followed a thin fiber line through the panel gap, up the joist, through a drilled hole to the kitchen. Under the kitchen island, neatly stapled along the toe kick, the fiber glimmered like a contraband river. It ran behind a drawer of spatulas, God help anyone who put them out of order, under a patch of wainscoting, and into the butler's pantry, where a brand new, smart, thermostat smirked with more ports than a standard model. He eased the thermostat off, and found a board inside that wasn't. Microcontroller, SD slot, a pressed metal plate shaped like, of course, a key. Dante grinned. Gotcha. He photographed, replaced, texted Priya. She pinged back a packet capture that spiked like night lightning. Target exfiltrating payroll cred stash from trial ENV. Not breach yet. Recon. Nicely found, Nana. He filed his dignity under collateral damage and cracked his neck. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked. He froze, counted, heard a whisper, then another, 2 people. Light footfalls into the kitchen. He slid behind the pantry door and stilled his breathing. 2 silhouettes in blue glow. One taller, careful, Tasha, and one shorter, with backpack, Rex. The shorter crouched, pulled out a tablet. "We're on track," a whisper said. "Tonight we test full siphon. Friday we take payroll." The taller fidgeted. "I don't like doing this here." "Miss Magnolia is asleep," the first whispered. "And if she wakes, you'll smile and she'll bake you something." "It's a perfect cover." Dante tasted anger. He also tasted the detour. Tasha, security, had eyes and ethics. Maybe she was dragged in. Rex, backpack, had the wrist posture of a coder. The locksmith? Could be. He needed more. A soft sound behind his shoulder. He turned, face to face with little Ty, pajamas, clutching a stuffed dragon. The boy's eyes went huge, flicked to the kitchen, back to Dante. Dante did the universal adult motion for shush, fingers to lips, prayer to any deity who accepted foolish agents as offerings. Ty nodded, solemn. Then he moved, darting out, stage whispering loud, "Ms. Magnolia, I barfed," and flopped into a convincing collapse near the doorway. The kitchen silhouettes flinched, hissed, scrambled, stashed tablet, and exited past the boy, murmuring concern. "Poor kid," the backpack voice said. "Let's fix this later." When they were gone, Dante scooped Ty and whispered into his hair, "You, my friend, are getting the biggest Saturday pancakes in the history of flour." "Extra sprinkles," Ty murmured, eyes alight with conspiracy. They tiptoed back. Dante tucked Ty in, waited till the boy's breath evened, then texted Priya again. 2 in kitchen. Likely Rex plus Tasha. Tablet stashed behind flour canister. Priya. Copy. We'll spoof their test, feed them bogus payroll creds, watch the drop. Morning arrived with the smell of cinnamon and justice. Dante made pancakes like a man who owed someone a miracle. He slid a plate to Ty piled to physics-defying heights. The boy's grin could have powered a street fair. Naomi kissed Ty's curls. "What did you do to deserve that, mister?" "Trade secret," Ty said primly, then whispered, "I barfed fake." Naomi blinked. "You what?" Dante coughed. "Child's imagination. Incredible." She gave him a look that suggested she had more connectors between dots than she let on. "Be careful," she murmured, and it was not a request. By noon, Dante had a plan. Flush the locksmith from cover without blowing the whole house to pieces. It involved a bake sale, a block party, a rigged karaoke machine, and bait more irresistible than ethics. Magnolia glazed donuts and a USB-labeled city payroll root certs. "People are complicated," Priya warned on the wire. "When you spring this, whoever you catch, you're gonna break someone's map of the world." He thought of Naomi's tired smile, Tasha's careful shoulders, Ty's false barf, and the way this house held itself together with soup and stubbornness. "I'll break lightly," he promised. He hoped. Saturday dawned like an apology, clear, generous, late to the party. Crescent Gardens threw a payday parade, street fair designed in a group chat at 2 a.m. Dante. Magnolia stood Grand Marshal. Floral dress crisp, pearls like tiny shields. Stalls lined the block. Jun Park's Sudoku booth. Solve 3 in 2 minutes. Win a jar of kimchi. Ivy and Dickie's car hood cookout. Burgers grilled on a refurbished V8 because of course. Naomi's community kitchen tent with trays of empanadas. And Ty's lemonade stand. Free refills for people who made him laugh. In the center, A karaoke stage draped in streamers. A banner. Payday is coming, and so are donuts. Dante kept surveillance invisibly loud. Milo G'd and emceed. Priya's van idled 2 blocks over, antennas disguised as awnings. Officer Voss milled discreetly, talking to dogs. The bait sat on a table labeled Official Payroll Tech Check-In, a nerdy laptop, a badge printer, and a thumb drive that radiated "Come steal me." At noon, Tasha approached, casual. She chatted with Naomi, bounced jewels with practiced delight, bought 2 donuts, and walked on. That didn't clear her. Innocent people buy donuts. At 12:15, Rex drifted near the tech table, backpack hanging like a guilty conscience. He fingered the fake lanyards. He smiled at Magnolia with half a lip. "You look different," he said. "I changed my shampoo," Dante said sweetly. "It's called Mind Your Business." A laugh from Naomi's tent. Rex drifted toward it like a moth that thought it was smarter than the porch light. He and Naomi swapped a few words Dante couldn't hear over Milo's hype. Naomi's mouth pressed thin. Rex's smile sharpened. He tapped his backpack once, gentle, conspiratorial. Naomi's eyes went flint. She set down a tray and stepped back, away. Dante adjusted his plan. Rex was about to move. It felt like the air before a card trick. He turned the karaoke mic up to "Nosy Neighbor." "All right, babies," he boomed. "It's karaoke time. You sing, I judge unfairly, we all forgive each other." First up, the Locksmith. The crowd whooped. The moniker had become neighborhood myth, graffiti, memes, whispered boogeyman. No one moved. Dante tutted. "Fine, then I'll start." He launched into a gospel-flavored, "Ain't Number Sunshine," with enough wobble to justify mercy. He hammed, the crowd applauded, and while all eyes were on him, Priya's team quietly cloned Rex's phone from the fake lanyard tap. The bait drive disappeared. The trap closed itself like a handshake. At 1:03, Rex made his play. He slid behind the tech table, slipped the USB into his pocket, and strolled toward the alley. Tasha moved too, intercept course. 2 possibilities. She was going to stop him, or she was going to shield him. Dante intercepted both. He stepped off the stage, cane twirling like a baton with feelings, and planted himself in their path. "Rex, sweetheart, did you get my special glaze?" he asked loudly enough that the nearest 3 busybodies went predator still. Rex froze. "Excuse me?" "On the donuts," Dante crooned. "I added a little something for folks who like to take what isn't theirs." His eyes dropped to Rex's pocket. "Sugar does stick." Tasha's gaze snapped. Rex's hand twitched toward his pocket, toward the USB, toward evidence, then away. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. The half-smile had become a full mask. Under it, fear. "Funny," Dante replied. "Neither do I, which is why Officer Voss is going to help us all find out." Voss appeared like a plot twist that paid its bills. "Afternoon," she chirped. "Lovely weather for consent to search." Chaos unspooled in micro-bursts. Rex bolted. Tasha lunged, not at Voss, but at a teenager with a scooter who was about to get trampled. She shoved the kid clear, took the hit herself, rolled, popped up furious. Voss pursued Rex. Milo cut the music and, unintentionally helpful, cued "Bad Boys," because muscle memory. The crowd parted into a corridor of phones. Rex sprinted toward Naomi's tent. She stepped out, grabbed a sheet pan, clanged it against a post with the acoustics of a church bell, and shouted, "Not through here, friend." He hesitated, misjudged, tripped over Ty's lemonade sign. Everything about that child was traps, and sprawled. The USB popped from his pocket, skittered across pavement, and landed at the feet of Professor Jun Park, who stepped on it with the gravitas of a judge stamping an edict. Rex pushed up, looked at Naomi, something desperate in his eyes. "For your kid," he gasped. "I could have gotten you paid. Real paid." Naomi's face tightened. "Stealing from a city that pays your grandmother's nurse is not for my kid. It's for your ego." Voss cuffed him gently enough to count as neighborly. "Rex Dalton, you're under arrest for attempted theft, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and indecent backpack attachment. You have the right to remain silent. Please use it." The crowd whooped, then quieted as Tasha limped over, clutching her shoulder. Dante met her eyes. "You knew," he said quietly, not accusation, invitation. "I knew something," she replied, voice thick. "Not this. I didn't want to snitch half a story and break the house. I was trying to figure." "I get it," Dante said. "Next time, bring me a quarter of a story. I bake the rest." Priya's van rolled up, agents blending into the festival like they'd come for balloon animals and left with felonies. They bagged devices. Jun Park surrendered the USB with a sniff. It was underfoot. "That is not a dignified place for a cryptographic key, sir," an agent said, baffled and charmed. Rex sagged like an argument that realized it was out of citations. "You think you shut it down," he hissed at Dante. "But you have no idea who you're playing." "The Locksmith," Dante said. "Cute brand. But a lock is only impressive if it's guarding something worth the story." Rex laughed, sharp and mean. "You think I'm the Locksmith? Are you not?" Dante said, "Because it paid to confirm." Rex tilted his head toward the porch, where Milo, perfect teeth, perfect posture, stood, hand on the soundboard, eyes, calculating. "Some people don't do their own dirty work," Rex said. Priya in Dante's ear. "We cloned Rex's phone. Signal shows midnight meets with Milo. Funds traced to a shell that pays for a church venue? DJ gear? He's the center." Dante's mouth went dry. He liked disliking Milo for petty reasons. He didn't enjoy being right for big ones. He glanced at Naomi, whose eyes had also followed the angle. She shook her head, not in denial, in disappointment so clean it hurt. "Of course," she whispered. "Boys and their platforms." The takedown of Milo wasn't dramatic. Dante, Magnolia, walked up the steps and said, "Calm as a recipe, son, we need to talk about your side hustle." Milo smiled, attempted charm, tried to dash, straight into Jun Park's outstretched cane. He folded like poor origami. Evidence flowed. Money trails, server photos, the fake thermostat board with fingerprints, Rex's testimony. Indignant and self-exculpatory, and one last, perfect key. Milo's private sermon notes that read suspiciously like network diagrams. The festival resumed because neighborhoods are professionals at joy. Dante, heart thumping, helped Naomi plate empanadas. Ty announced he was switching from lemonade to Justice juice. Jules fell asleep on Naomi's chest, a crowning mercy. Priya sidled by. "You did it, Nana." He almost rolled his eyes, then smiled, ruinously fond. "Don't make that stick." "Too late," she smirked. Then, softer. "There's one more thing." "What?" She lifted her chin toward Naomi. "You can't keep both lives. And you, Dante." She let the name rest between the pearls and the pie cooling on the sill. "You don't do halfway. Tell her or walk away." He looked at Naomi, who was laughing with Tasha, scolding Ty, kissing Jules's forehead, an orbit he wanted to join. His rules twisted into a knot. He was an agent. He was a matriarch. He'd become, against his contract with himself, a neighbor. And the truth would either be a bomb or a bridge. The arrests made the news. The meme cycle crowned Chaos Nana a folk hero. Magnolia House received flowers, casseroles, and 3 offers to film a reality show, all denied with a cookie and a glare. The server farm was gone. The dodgy thermostat replaced by a model that did not double as a felon. The neighborhood slept deeper. Dante did not. He lay awake listening to the house breathe. The old pipes clearing their throats, the porch swing negotiating with gravity, Naomi humming to Jules in the room down the hall. The case was closed. The paperwork would not be. Priya had given him a week before they sent a substitute, Magnolia, to wind down the cover. He had 72 hours to decide how to end a story that didn't want to. On the second night, Naomi tapped his door. "Miss Magnolia?" she whispered. "You awake?" He sat up, smoothed his wig, ridiculous habit, opened the door. Naomi stood there, robe tied, cheeks scrubbed clean by long days. She looked curious, and tired, and brave. "Walk?" she asked. They strolled the porch, the street lit by sodium stoicism. The cats consented to be background. Naomi tucked her hands into her sleeves. When Milo got cuffed, she said, "I felt stupid for not seeing it. But also relieved, like the world went back to making some sense." She searched his face, "You make it make sense faster." He swallowed around a hope. "I make biscuits faster," he deflected. She smiled. "That too. A beat. Who are you, Miss Magnolia?" "Thunder, far off." Dante gripped the rail. Honesty is heavy. He trained all his life to bench press it only when it served the mission. Now the mission stared at him holding a baby and an unfair smile. He began. A voice from the sidewalk interrupted, bright and uninvited. "Miss Magnolia, you're trending again. Do you want to do a collab?" A ring light haloed a college influencer like an overeager lunar eclipse. Naomi laughed helplessly. Dante closed his eyes, pinched the bridge of his nose under latex, and through the annoyance found the answer he'd promised Priya and himself. "Tomorrow," he told Naomi. "After breakfast." She nodded slowly, like someone agreeing to jump from a rock into water because they trusted the body next to them. Okay. The next morning, he cooked like penance. Honey butter biscuits, shrimp and grits, fruit salad that looked festive on purpose. The house gathered, Ty narrating loudly, Tasha rolling her shoulder less painfully, Jun Park wearing a t-shirt that read math. Because crime doesn't add up, Ivy and Dickie arguing about spark plugs. Naomi bouncing Jules and beaming at the table like it was a treaty. Dante set down the platter and tapped a glass. "Y'all," he said, voice steadying on a note he didn't recognize, his own. "I have a confession." Phones appeared, then hesitated, then lowered. The house knew when to let a person be a person. He took off the pearls. He set them like punctuation. He tugged the wig free. The room gasped. Ty dropped a fork. Tasha's eyebrows attempted orbit. Jun Park adjusted his glasses, muttered, "Statistically surprising," and then, though in retrospect. Naomi did not gasp. She watched quietly, almost relieved. "My name is Dante Cole," he said. "I'm an agent. We had reason to believe the mastermind of the heists was here, using the house as cover." He gestured toward the kitchen. "I came to find him. I found you." He smiled, soft, which was, frankly, terrifying. Silence, then a shaky cheer from Ty. "You're a superhero." "Superheroes don't need insoles," Dante said. A gentle laugh rippled. The tension cracked like sugar on creme brulee. Naomi stepped forward, studied his face. I knew, she said quietly. His shock must have showed because she added, not the job. The difference. Your eyes. Who you were under what you were doing. I didn't know if you were good. A smile, fragile, true. Thanks for being good. Emotion elbowed him in the throat. I don't always know how. That's why houses exist, she replied. To fix our bad tries. He nodded, because arguing would be an act of vandalism. Officer Voss clapped his shoulder. I knew something was off, she confessed. But if I'd ruined this, the aunties would have revoked my municipal immunity. Ivy teared up for no apparent reason other than being a person. Dickie cried because Ivy cried. Jun Park said, "May I continue calling you Miss Magnolia when you cook?" It seems semantically appropriate. Absolutely not, Dante said, and then, fine. Ty tugged his sleeve. Are you still gonna stay? Dante felt his rule, in, out, case closed, stare at him like a dog waiting to be walked. He looked at Priya, who had materialized on the porch because supervisors like finales. She lifted a brow. Your move. I can't, he said carefully. I have a job. It's the only thing I've been. And if I quit for a porch, Priya here will send me to HR jail. Priya sipped coffee, entirely unapologetic. Correct. But, Dante continued, Magnolia House is family. And family is not negotiable. He looked at Naomi. If you'll have me as a cousin with keys. Naomi laughed, a relief in quart form. Cousin is safe. For now. Define for now, he blurted, then shut his mouth because subtlety had a right to a future. After breakfast, the neighborhood wandered through to deliver goodwill, return Tupperware, and assess the gossip. Dante spent the day repairing a banister with Dickie, teaching Ty to pick the right locks, e.g., malfunctioning bathroom door, not City Hall, walking Jules so Naomi could nap, and writing a letter to the real Evelyn Ruth Carter, Miss Magnolia abroad, explaining with great humility how he had borrowed her name and tried not to break it. He tucked in a photo of the house, the festival, and the golden spatula Ty had bestowed with a sticker that read number 1 Nana. Dante had groaned, secretly cherished. By sundown, the porch sagged under contented weight. Milo's church had a new interim leader who believed in transparent budgets and sermons that didn't look like flowcharts. Rex had confessed on camera and, to everyone's surprise, apologized like he meant it. Tasha's shoulder healed. The teenager with the scooter built a ramp for Ty because apparently chaos-inspired infrastructure. Naomi sat beside Dante, no pearls, no wig, no script, watching Jules sleep with the kind of fascination usually reserved for lightning storms. You know, she said, you're better at this than you think. At what? People. She tilted her head. Undercover is just empathy with props. He laughed. My therapist will either love that or mail you a bill. Tell her to send it to the house, Naomi said. We pay debts together. He sat with that, its weight, its promise, until the stars busied themselves and the heat retreated. He felt tired in a way that wasn't emptiness. Full, instead, like a room after company. Magnolia, Ty announced, barreling onto the porch in pajamas. Story time. Dante opened his mouth to correct the name, then closed it and patted the swain. All right, child. Tonight's lesson. The day the porch saved the city. There will be biscuits. Yes, Ty hissed. Naomi smiled, the kind of smile you write down so you can practice later. Priya, leaning in the doorway, saluted him with her coffee cup and, in a rare softness, mouthed, "Stay human." He told the story. It ended like most of the true ones do. With neighbors, not heroes. With a house, not a headline. With a ridiculous disguise. a scolded criminal, a rescued paycheck, and enough biscuits for forgiveness. When he tucked Ty in, the boy whispered, "I knew it was you anyway." "You did not." Ty grinned. "Your eyes." Dante flicked off the light, contemplated the miracle of foam mattresses and second chances, and went to the kitchen to wrap the last 2 biscuits. He walked back to the porch, handed one to Naomi wordlessly, and held up the other like a toast to the dark. "To family," he said. "Chosen and loud," she added. They bit in. It tasted like butter and relief and a rule rewritten in pencil so the future could help. Out on the sidewalk, the influencer pointed her ring light at the house and whispered into her mic, "Back again with chaos, Nana." And Naomi, laughing, closed the curtains on them all. Inside, a man with flour on his knuckles and a wig on a hook finally felt off duty. And the house exhaled, like all old houses do when they're sure they've done enough for one day.